Delivering food, I crashed into a Rolls-Royce. I was sweating bullets, waiting for the owner to name the price for the damage. The owner turned out to be Eleanor Vance, the billionaire who'd been chasing my Frank for 18 years. Aunt Eleanor, over 50 but still striking, stomped over in her high heels and slapped a check on my face. "Here's $100 million, she said. "Tie your dad up and bring him to marry me. The accident will be forgotten." Me? Seriously, Frank? This chasing her man dramatic saga? You'd run into that? Did you hear me? Aunt Eleanor leaned down, her cold fingers tapping my face. The light check still gleamed with $100 million. But a man has his pride. I, Leo, am a man of honor. How could I betray my own dad for a mere $100 million? So I straightened my back, jutted out my chin, and forcefully threw my moped/scooter towards the side of the road. I fixed my gaze, sharp and cold, on Aunt Eleanor, who stood with her arms crossed, and declared loudly, "Sorry, I won't sell out my Frank." Don't underestimate a young man. It's just about paying for the damage. Name your price. Give me a year, and I promise I'll pay you back. Aunt Eleanor tilted her head, then glanced back at the Rolls-Royce Phantom with the large dent I'd put in the trunk. She waved a hand, summoning the bodyguard standing behind her. "How much?" she said. "Tell him the cost." A bodyguard nodded, tapping on a calculator in his hand, and began reciting a string of numbers. Professional paint repair estimate, $8 million. Cost of materials, $60 million. Emotional distress compensation for Ms. Vance's damaged mood, $90 million. Ms. Vance will need to switch to another luxury house for the next half month since this car is unusable. Estimated fuel cost increase, $30,058, plus. Hold on. I immediately raised a hand to stop him, then, quickly realizing discretion is the better part of valor, I bowed low and offered a smile. It's Frank's honor to be favored by Aunt Eleanor. With our relationship, why talk about money, especially compensation? It feels so distant. Carelessly picking up the $100 million check that had fallen to the ground, I lightly dusted it off and gave Aunt Eleanor a dazzling smile. "I accept your kind offer. And I guarantee the mission will be completed." Aunt Eleanor, any time limit? Prepaid or collect on delivery? Do you need delivery? Or do you have another location in mind? Eleanor Vance tugged at her fiery red lips, moved a finger, and spoke softly, "Up to you. The sooner the better." Then she turned and walked away. My gaze lingered on the receding Rolls-Royce, then dropped to the $100 million check in my hand. "Frank, I'm sorry. But as a professional delivery guy, we always uphold the principle that the customer is always right and strive for speed and passion. Don't worry, Frank, I'll safely deliver you to our esteemed VIP customer." Tucking the check securely into my chest pocket, I hopped onto my moped/scooter and raced home against the wind. Preparing rope and a sack/duffel bag, I crept into Frank's room in the dark. I had just opened my mouth to call out, "Frank? Where are you?" when I felt a chill down my spine. Before I could react, I felt a sharp blow to my neck. My body went limp, and I immediately collapsed onto the floor. Before I closed my eyes, I saw my Frank standing with his hands behind his back, shaking his head regretfully and making a tsk tisk tisk sound. What the hell just happened? My hands and feet were bound, and my mouth was stuffed with the towel Frank had been using for 3 years. Unable to speak, I thrashed around like a cocoon inside the bumpy, speeding beat-up van. Frank was driving, and hearing me stir, he looked back at me with a sad expression. "Son, don't blame your Frank. It's just that Olivia Vance offered too much." Olivia Vance? Since when did my Frank get involved with my ex-girlfriend? My eyes bulged, and I cursed Frank with my eyes 18,000 times. Frank ignored me, just tilting his head back slightly, letting the wind from the window ruffle his handsome stubble and neat buzz cut. He rubbed his upper lip with his index finger and said mournfully, "Your Frank is useless. I'm just a small security guard." Unfortunately, yesterday I accidentally mistook Olivia Vance's bodyguard for a bad guy and used a taser/stun gun on him. Miss Vance is a good person. She said she didn't need compensation, just needed you delivered. You know we don't have money at home. I raised you myself. I glared resentfully at the old man. Though I couldn't speak clearly, I still mumbled a question. Tell me, how much did she give you? Frank was clearly guilty, understanding my meaning. His eyes darted away, and he stammered, not much. $100 million and $1. Me? Eleanor Vance and Olivia Vance, aunt and niece, they really are two peas in a pod. Why couldn't Eleanor Vance give me $10 more? If the price had been a bit higher, with my top-notch efficiency, I would have already completed the quick package and deliver service. It wouldn't be me on the road right now. Lost in thought, I watched the rapidly changing scenery outside the window. Before I could fully descend into sadness, Frank slammed on the brakes. I raised an eyebrow, my small head filled with big questions. The next second, Frank raised a baseball bat in his left hand and held blue-printed shorts in his right, saying apologetically, "This Miss Vance requested that you be stripped naked before being sent in. Son, remember this knee-length shorts is the last bit of tenderness your Frank is leaving you. When you become successful later, don't forget your Frank." Me? My vision went black, and my hanging heart died completely as Frank showed no mercy in his actions. What a damn luxurious house. What a soft and huge Hastings mattress. What a sparkling crystal chandelier. What cold feet. Before I could collect myself, I was kicked off the bed, my face pressed tight against the floor, unable to turn my head even slightly. Since my hands were still tied behind my back, I couldn't resist at all, but the towel in my mouth was gone. So, while Olivia Vance was stepping on me, I mumbled, "Please, let go, MMPH. Olivia Vance let out a cold scoff and gave me a condescending glare from above. She leaned back and smoothly sat into a leather armchair. Crossing her legs and her arms across her chest, she watched as I struggled to get from a prone position to a sitting one, then slowly spoke, "Leo, back in my hands, huh? How does it feel to see me again after 3 years?" How could I feel? I turned, eyed the door, and with the determination of a 100-meter sprint, I bolted. My body tilted forward, and suddenly I face-planted. Then, I was brutally yanked back, my smooth back scraping the floor, sparking all the way towards Olivia Vance's feet. Wincing, I looked at my ankle and realized I was tied with a thick rope, the end of which was currently held by Olivia Vance. Still trying to run? Olivia Vance pouted and mercilessly gave me a few more kicks. She slowly bent down, poking my collarbone hard with her index finger. "Some people, I just can't knock sense into you." I winced in pain and retorted, "I'm not a mouse, why are you poking me?" Olivia Vance gave me a swift, sharp slap across the face. She grabbed my ear, raised an eyebrow, and a hint of cruelty appeared on her beautiful face. Such a venomous mouth. "You're not a mouse, but I'm going to make you live like a stinking rat. Leo, have you forgotten? 3 years ago, you became instantly rich and then suddenly disappeared from my life? You didn't answer my calls, didn't reply to my messages. My first love, Olivia Vance's first love, ended with a breakup from a lowlife like you. Heh, when you vanished, you must have thought I was after your money and looked down on me. And now? Leo, knowing I'm from a billionaire family, do you regret it terribly?" Olivia Vance spoke to me with her chin held high, but I vaguely saw her eyes were a little red. Yes, I regretted it terribly. Since I had chosen to be an undercover narcotics agent from the start, I should have been sober enough not to get close to Olivia Vance. I shouldn't have pursued her, shouldn't have developed a relationship with her. 3 years ago, I suddenly received my last mission before retirement, pretending to be a tycoon to deal with a major drug lord. Due to confidentiality, I couldn't tell Olivia Vance, and I completely disappeared. I had hoped to return safely after enduring hardships and calmly be with Olivia Vance after retiring. But my left lower leg was permanently disabled because of that mission. Frank and the higher-ups spent a lot of effort to fit me with this super realistic prosthetic leg, making me look no different from others. By the time I regained consciousness and completed my rehabilitation training, 3 years had passed. 3 whole years, and I hadn't contacted Olivia Vance once. How much must she hate me? Besides, I'm disabled now, and Olivia Vance has such good prospects. She shouldn't be held back by me. I should continue being my penny-pinching delivery guy, and she should be her bright and carefree young lady. A pang of bitterness filled my heart. I helplessly glanced at the connection between my prosthetic leg and my real leg, hidden by my shorts. I remained silent, which earned me another slap from Olivia Vance. Olivia Vance's hand wasn't big, but her strength was undeniable, just enough to make my head ring and take a while to recover. She sprang to her feet, pointed at me with her index finger, and plastered a smile on her face, but her words were like a venomous snake's hiss, chilling me to the bone. Leo, you dare ignore me now? Just you wait, I'll make your life a living hell. My eyes widened, my ears ringing. I weakly asked, $100 million, and $1, can I buy my freedom? Olivia Vance tilted her head, covering her mouth with her fingers as she laughed. Then I saw her pull out a brand new contract of servitude. Leo, your Frank sold your next 30 generations to me. To buy your freedom, the ransom starts at $300 billion. Listening to a contract straight out of a nightmare, tears welled up in my eyes against my will. But it wasn't over. Olivia Vance waved her hand, adorned with a huge diamond ring, and suddenly 16 shirtless, handsome muscular men flooded into the room. They stood straight behind Olivia Vance, their toned bodies impressive enough to make me drool. I was amazed that Olivia Vance could be so depraved, playing with so many men after breaking up with me. It seemed the damage I caused her was truly significant. Olivia Vance, however, returned to the leather armchair in an appreciative posture, lazily propping her chin, and languidly ordered, you guys, all of you, get him. Me? No. As the dark mass of people surged towards me, I felt my voice was loud enough to blow off the luxury ceiling. Olivia Vance told each person to beat me. Then she had everyone write things on me like heartbreaker, jerk, and Leo. I'm sorry, Olivia Vance. Thanks to my agile movements and quick dodges, my blue-printed shorts stayed on, and the matter of my prosthetic leg remained undisclosed. Looking up, my body aching all over, I saw Olivia Vance's smiling eyes. Suddenly, I felt a strange sense of resignation. If being tormented was the price, I was willing to be bullied by her. Because I truly wanted to stay by her side a little longer. I didn't know how many times I had dreamt of the moments we were together. A hint of tenderness welled up in my nose. Olivia Vance threw a shoe hard at my face. Don't look at me like I'm a dog. Leo, if you look down on me, I have plenty of suitors. From now on, just accepting the torment and punishment. I fell straight onto my face. Well, that took care of the fleeting tenderness I just felt. And I never expected that, after we broke up, Olivia Vance would become so decisive and true to her word. She truly made my life a living hell. She demanded I personally cook dishes where every single shredded bell pepper was exactly 3 millimeters thick, and the pork for the stir-fried pork had to be 3 centimeters wide and 5 millimeters thick. I spent 4 hours meticulously chopping everything, only for her to yawn and say she wanted to eat steamed mushrooms instead. She sent me to an out-of-the-way shop 8,000 meters away from the mansion, specifically requesting Louis XIII Black Pearl. I raced there overnight to buy it for her, only for her to call when I arrived and tell me she'd remembered the wrong place. I wanted to scream and run away, but she sent her trackers after me, and one of them grabbed me and flew me back to Olivia Vance's side. There was no peace after returning either. When I was exhausted and sprawled on the floor after being caught, Olivia Vance was intimately linked with a tall, handsome man. Her shoulder leaned slightly against his, and the corners of her mouth curved up as she said, Liam Hayes, watermelon. Liam Hayes, the one she called, naturally fed Olivia Vance. I seriously thought there was something wrong with my ears. I asked Olivia Vance in surprise, Dad? You called him Dad? And with the last name Lou? Olivia Vance, you've really changed a lot. Tell me, how many other Dad Wangs, Dad Zhengs, Dad Gaos do you have? You rich people really are open-minded when it comes to young men. Before I finished muttering, the handsome guy smiled and explained his name was Liam Hayes, the Hayes part meaning something like dominant. Then, without waiting for Liam Hayes to continue, Olivia Vance leisurely stood up, looked down at me, and smiled. Leo, you're living quite a comfortable life every day, huh? Heh. Well, just now I thought of a new way to torment you. What is it? A bad feeling rose in my heart. I asked hesitantly, and then I was being taken to the arena/fighting ring. Olivia Vance and Liam Hayes, intimate and close, sat together on the platform/rostrum. Snacking on popcorn and drinking juice, Olivia Vance even crossed her legs and looked at her beautiful nails. She looked at me maliciously, moving her lips to form the words, "Go for it. If it doesn't kill you, play until you almost die." My heart leaped into my throat. I turned and saw a muscular man, half a head taller than me, standing ready before me. Round 1, Leo wins. Round 2, Leo wins. Round 26, Leo wins. The announcer kept declaring the results to the guests around us. I slumped onto the cold, hard ground, panting, looking at my scraped palms. I thought about how I'd used all the martial arts and skills from my time as an undercover narcotics agent to narrowly win each time, and a strange sadness welled up in my heart. Olivia Vance, did you really have to hate me this much? Before, when I had small cuts on my fingers, you'd be heartbroken. Now you're actually eager to push me into the fire pit. Enduring the pain all over my body, I somewhat aggrievedly found the direction where Olivia Vance and Liam Hayes were sitting. I shouted loudly, "Damn it, I'm really going to die here. Can we stop for today?" Olivia Vance looked at me and curved her lips into a malicious smile. I followed her gaze and saw her aunt, Eleanor Vance. Immediately, the announcer's voice became excited. He said, "The final PK. Frank, the 50-year-old man, versus Leo, the undefeated 26-time war god. Who will win? Let's look forward to it." This sudden news, this unexpected opponent, I slowly turned my head and saw my Frank, the one who had brought me here and run off with the money last time, had actually appeared in this place after a long absence. The yell. All lights shone on him. He clenched his fists, gritted his teeth, and walked towards me with a heavy expression. All breathing stopped, and I became more vigilant. Because even though my Frank was just a security guard now, he was a tough guy in his younger days, and I learned a lot of my martial arts from him. It was said that even Aunt Eleanor started her relentless pursuit of Frank because of an unexpected hero saves the damsel incident involving him. Seeing Frank getting closer, seeing him swing his big fist, I was fully prepared to defend myself, but unexpectedly, I was pinned down onto the ground with overwhelming force. Ouch! A collective gasp rose from the crowd. Pinned on the ground, I heard Frank's angry roar in my ear. "You little brat! Did you take that woman Eleanor Vance's $100 million? I struggled to flip him over and pin him down. "Same to you. Didn't you take Olivia Vance's $100 million and $1? Speaking of which, Frank, why are you here?" Frank gave me a slow-motion, light punch to the cheek, gritting his teeth. "You still have the nerve to ask. She said you took the money but didn't deliver, and she reported you to the police for massive fraud. Your Frank, as a direct relative, got implicated and she grabbed me." I felt like laughing, but I still asked, "What does that have to do with you being at the arena/fighting ring?" Frank grabbed my collar, feigned an over-the-shoulder throw, and explained, "She said I'd been running away for so long, not responding to her love, and she wanted to give me some punishment. Now I have two choices. Either I keep fighting you or others." "And the other?" I grabbed Frank's arm, but he seemed to suddenly lose all strength. He dropped to his knees with a slap. Smiling slyly, he whispered, "The other is to just surrender and be her sweetie pie." "Referee, I surrender." I stared dumbfounded at my spineless Frank. I watched him stand obediently straight, waiting for Aunt Eleanor to come down from the platform/rostrum and take his arm. Before I completely turned to stone, Frank brushed past me and leaned in to offer some advice in my ear. "Son, your Frank couldn't let go of your mom, who died right after giving birth to you. Now I've figured it out. Some love shouldn't be missed. Life is so short, there aren't that many second chances." I looked up steadily at Frank. He winked at me. After walking 2 steps, he suddenly remembered something, turned back, ran to my side, and whispered the intelligence he had. "Oh, right. The guy next to Olivia Vance should be her first love. You should be a substitute for that first love. That first love seems to have kidney problems and can't find a suitable kidney match. Son, donate if you can. Be a pitiful, selfless man." That's the only way a perennial runner-up like you might gain sympathy and succeed in winning her over. My heart stopped dead. I asked Frank with a dry voice, "Where did you hear that?" Frank looked at me with a very pitiful expression, put his hand heavily on my shoulder, and left me with a sentence, "Your Aunt Eleanor said it when she was drunk. It should be pretty accurate." Then he shook his head and left, sticking close to Eleanor Vance. I looked blankly towards Olivia Vance and Liam Hayes, only to find that they were gone. My heart ached intensely. I thought back to every little moment when Olivia Vance and I were in love. Her standing on tiptoes to hold an umbrella for me on a rainy day, her profile as she stared blankly at me while I worked on documents, her arms wrapped tightly around me while I slept, and those times, when I was clearly awake but pretended to be asleep, feeling her gently trace my outline, kissing my forehead and the tip of my nose. If all of that was because I was a substitute and Olivia Vance was looking at someone else through me, pouring out her affection, I, Leo, was truly a bit pathetic. My nose inexplicably stung with sadness. I desperately tried to find some evidence in my memory that I wasn't a substitute, that Olivia Vance didn't love Liam Hayes. But after searching through everything, I found that in my memories, Olivia Vance and Liam Hayes were so intimately in love. They would lie on the sofa with their arms linked, they would whisper secrets in a corner of the room, secrets that no one but the two of them could know, with their arms around each other's shoulders. They would feed each other fruit, and every few days they would go out together to eat, drink, and have fun. Their interactions were so intimate and natural, as if they would be forever happy together, regardless of my presence. Thinking of this, the image of Liam Hayes in my mind became even clearer. His slightly upturned eyes were very similar to mine, we had the same style of clothing, similar hairstyles, and even the necklaces around our necks were identical. No wonder Liam Hayes always looked at me when he was with Olivia Vance. That was the challenge from the real deal. It was deep contempt, scorn, and disdain for a replica. I suddenly felt incredibly pathetic. I had only one thought, I wanted to see Olivia Vance quickly. So I raced through every corner, shouting Olivia Vance's name. Then, in a corner I passed by, I saw Olivia Vance squatting down and crying intensely. She wasn't tall, and when she was curled up on the ground burying her head and crying, she was just a small ball. She had thrown her high heels aside. I heard Olivia Vance repeating over and over through her sobs, "I don't want you to die, I don't want you to die. I love you so much, I like you so much. You have to stay by my side forever, healthy." Liam Hayes stood beside her, gently patting Olivia Vance's shoulder. His expression was also heavy, but perhaps because he was the one involved, he couldn't offer more comforting words. I stood in the shadows of the corner, watching quietly. Watching Olivia Vance bury her head on Liam Hayes' shoulder. Watching Olivia Vance sob uncontrollably. My heart was filled with mixed emotions, sadness, heartache, and pity, all mixed together, making me feel incredibly uncomfortable. It was always like this. Even if her tears weren't for me, my heart would ache to the point of being unable to breathe. I didn't want to see her sad, didn't want to see her suffering. Even knowing I was a substitute, I still loved her so much, wanting to shield her from all storms, wanting her to be forever carefree. My fists clenched tighter and tighter. Finally, I took a deep look at the tear-stained Olivia Vance and made a decision in my heart. I turned and asked Mr. Peterson for Liam Hayes' contact information. I quietly added him. Then, after much deliberation, I sent the message, "I'll help you, fulfill your happiness. You will live happily. So, if you are willing, keep it a secret from Olivia Vance. See you at City General Hospital tomorrow at 3 p.m. He first sent a message saying, "You know," then immediately withdrew it and sent an extremely cute okay. Then he sent a little spinning animation. I couldn't help but let out a cold snort. No other meaning, this person is truly a bit shameless. Knowing a simping substitute is willingly donating his kidney, and he just accepts it so calmly and happily? Angrily closing my phone, I lay in my 10-square-meter room, tossing and turning. Filled with melancholy, I endured until the next day. To avoid being seen, I deliberately wore all black and sneaked into the hospital. Soon I saw that guy, Liam Hayes. He was dressed elegantly, in a sharp white suit, clearly having put a lot of effort into seducing Olivia Vance. Even smiling, his lips were a bit pale. It seemed his kidneys were truly not well. The wind blew, and my mood sank a few degrees. I looked at Liam Hayes blandly, but he seemed very happy, waving at me and calling out, "Bro, you're here?" He wanted to hold my hand. I felt strange. I thought maybe he wanted to thank me for my less contribution, but I was only doing it so Olivia Vance wouldn't be sad anymore and could live happily with him. I still had reservations about him being the recipient. So I deliberately dodged him, pulling him by the sleeve and walking silently, hurrying to the department head's office. "Don't drag this out. You need a kidney, let's just go through the process. From now on, I will completely withdraw from your lives. She loves you very much, and I only hope you won't let her down. You must treat her well." As I said this, my hands trembled, my hands and feet were cold, and I felt like tears could fall at any moment. It really hurt, it truly hurt like hell. I really loved Olivia Vance. I couldn't bear to let go of the 4 years we were together, couldn't bear to let go of every precious moment we shared. But I wouldn't be the one to give her happiness. All I could do was leave as soon as possible. Forcing back the bitter feeling, I realized Liam Hayes, who was standing opposite me, hadn't spoken for a long time. Looking up, I saw that the one crying was him. "You. What's wrong?" I was a bit confused, but I saw Liam Hayes pouting, glaring at me through gritted teeth. "Leo, you're the one who needs a kidney. Your Frank needs a kidney, your grandfather needs a kidney, your entire family for 30 generations needs a kidney. I got all dressed up for you, thinking you were finally won over by my charm after all this time and were willing to come clean and be with me. And what happens? You crazy idiot brought me to the hospital just to tell me this. Do you know how much effort I put into attracting your attention, specifically coordinating couple outfits with you, wearing couple necklaces with you, and getting couple haircuts? You don't understand, you don't understand, you don't understand anything." Liam Hayes outputted a long speech with his arms crossed. I was completely bewildered, petrified, and shattered. So, after all that, this Liam Hayes is gay. I stared blankly, feeling like my tongue wasn't my own. After a long while, I managed to ask, "Then what about you and Olivia Vance?" "Olivia Vance is my aunt. We're 7 years apart. My aunt just looks young." I was stunned now, my brain shut down. Liam Hayes suddenly came up and gave me a fierce hug. In the 1 minute and 7 seconds he held me tightly, my brain was 37% shut down, 36.5% operating at high speed, and 26.5% asking, "Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing?" Liam Hayes's words buzzed in my ear. "Fine, we're over. This last hug is the most decent goodbye I can give you. There are thousands of men in the world, and I, Liam Hayes, am determined to see half of them. Leo, goodbye." Liam Hayes was truly a man of the wind. He released me without a second thought, and then Olivia Vance appeared before my eyes, looking surprised, angry, and even red in the neck. She bit her lower lip, shook her head gently, and raised her hand to give me a hard slap on the left cheek. "Liam Hayes said you asked him out, and I didn't believe it." I frowned, about to explain, "It's not like that. And then I got here just in time to see you two hugging." Olivia Vance gave me another slap on the right cheek. "Leo, I was completely wrong about you from beginning to end. You're disgusting. How could you lay your hands on him?" Finally, she bit her lip and kicked me hard in the body without hesitation. I felt my body fly towards the department head's feet in a weird parabolic curve. And Olivia Vance pouted, tears welling up, turned around in her black hair, and stormed off without looking back. The department head bent down solicitously and asked me, "Hello, are you still donating a kidney?" I looked at him speechlessly, opened my mouth, and said, "Could you please check my kidney first? Thank you." Leaving the hospital crestfallen, I relentlessly pestered Liam Hayes, wanting to understand the truth of the matter. Liam Hayes initially refused to see me again. As he turned and left decisively, I remembered some very old friends. "If you're willing, I can introduce you to my buddies Alex, Ben, and Chris." Thus, I successfully managed to keep Liam Hayes, a truly first-hand source of information. So, that day at the arena/fighting ring, what were you and Olivia Vance crying about? Under a big tree, Liam Hayes and I squatted side by side, each with a blade of grass in our mouths, looking up at the sky. I asked the question first. Her golden retriever, whom she'd raised for 8 years, died. She was burying the dog that day. Oh. I nodded, saying nothing more. After a long silence, when it felt like a flock of crows flew over my head, Liam Hayes turned and asked me, I heard you're my aunt's ex-boyfriend who died 3 years ago. Hey, did you suddenly come back from the dead? Or did you just get rich in those 3 years and get carried away, disappearing completely and refusing to respond? I lowered my head, glancing at my realistic prosthetic leg, unable to speak. Liam Hayes just kept rambling. Honestly, my aunt was really pathetic those 3 years. You know how her mom and dad were pressuring her back then? But she insisted you hadn't abandoned her and waited stubbornly. As a result, she was forced to give up 30% of the company's shares, that was billions. It seems like my aunt was almost like a vagrant back then, handing out flyers looking for you everywhere, worrying about you all night, getting seriously ill, and still waiting. Then, she heard you'd gotten rich and run off. She still didn't believe it. When her parents forced her into a fiancé again, she almost slit her wrists. Liam Hayes counted on his fingers, listing off details about Olivia Vance. Every sentence was like a sharp knife, mercilessly stabbing into my heart. It was my fault. I was the one who made her endure such great disappointment and torment, who made her bear so much expectation and pain. I didn't want her to cry, didn't want her to suffer, but the person who brought the storm into her life was me. Liam Hayes grew angrier as he spoke, finally slapping me on the back of the head. Hey, Leo, you dog! You're the ancestor of scumbags. Why did I fall for your handsome looks a while ago? TSK, so do you still love my aunt or not? Can't you see she still loves you? She's waiting for you wholeheartedly. That slap, coupled with the things about Olivia Vance ringing in my mind, suddenly ignited a surge of courage in my heart. Perhaps she wouldn't look down on me? Perhaps, if I tried harder, I could also give her a happy and beautiful future? I stood up abruptly, clenched my fists, gritted my back teeth, and opened my phone, preparing to ask Olivia Vance to meet me. I would explain everything. But when I opened it, I saw a call from Frank. Frank usually didn't call me easily. What was wrong this time? My heart leaped, and I held my breath, listening to the voice on the other end. Son, your Frank's life is bitter, woo woo woo. It turns out that stuff Eleanor Vance said when she was drunk, the main character wasn't you, it was your Frank. That woman Eleanor Vance, her first love, died 18 years ago because of kidney problems. Damn it, she saw me 18 years ago and started her relentless pursuit because I looked exactly like her first love. Woo woo woo, women are all like this, loving one and then another. It's a waste that your Frank just decided to be with this woman, woo woo woo. Never mind, your Frank is heartbroken and leaving town. Son, take care of yourself. See you later if fate allows. Beep beep, Frank hung up decisively. Me? Speechless, I was about to call Olivia Vance. Eleanor Vance called me instead. Hello, Leo. Do you know where your Frank went? Oh dear, it's all because Aunt Eleanor was too engrossed in reading novels and comics a while ago, and my private VR holographic experience game was too fun. I think I got drunk and babbled incoherently, confusing the plot. I don't know what your Frank is thinking. Such a big man, so petty. I finally caught him, and he ran off again? Hello, so, Leo, do you know where your Frank went? Never mind. Knowing your Frank, he's so cunning and smart, he definitely won't tell you. Hanging up. Me? Finally, I steeled myself to call Olivia Vance. Before I could press the dial button, Olivia Vance called me. I fumbled and almost dropped the phone. I spoke with a trembling voice. Hello? Olivia Vance's icy voice came through. Leo, I forgot to tell you. I'm getting married. My fiancé is Ethan Davis, the second young master of the Davis family. He's a rising star in business, exceptionally capable, controls billions of dollars, with industries all over the world. His grandfather is an international pharmaceutical expert, his mother is an international dancer, and his father is an excellent politician. Oh, and his older brother. So, are you coming to our wedding? Dressed to the nines, how about it? Honestly, I couldn't find my voice. When Olivia Vance hung up and sent me their wedding photo, the courage I had finally mustered scattered like sand in the wind. I typed and deleted, typed again, and deleted again. Finally, I sent, "Okay, I wish you happiness. But your husband might be uncomfortable seeing me. For everyone's sake, I'll pack my bags and leave, okay?" She didn't reply. A whole day passed, and then she sent back an okay. At that moment, my eyes couldn't hold back the tears. I simply squatted on the ground, buried my face, and cried quietly for a while. "Frank, where are you? We're both in the same boat. Your son misses you so much." After crying enough, feeling like I had spent 3 hours, 42 minutes, and 37 seconds covering the love for Olivia Vance with a thin cloth, I stood up and packed my bags. I looked back at the mansion, closed my eyes, and decided to leave without regret. But after only a few STE. P.S. I saw thick smoke rising from the wood/grove not far away. A bad feeling surged in my heart, and I sprinted towards it. Then I saw the perpetrator, Brenda Vance, clapping her hands excitedly and speeding away from the accident scene in her car. The last thing Brenda Vance said before she drove off was, "Heh heh, Olivia Vance, disappear completely. I don't believe that after you die, your parents' property won't come to me. Ha 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 ha." Olivia Vance? Was Olivia Vance trapped inside? My limbs immediately went numb. I eyed a nearby wooden post, hoisted it onto my shoulder, and rammed my way in. Thick smoke filled the air. Olivia Vance was curled up in a corner in terror, looking extremely weak. Fighting through the flames, I struggled to lift her onto my shoulder. Just as I was nearing the exit, a broken beam fell from above and struck my left leg hard. "Leo!" Olivia Vance's face instantly turned deathly pale with fright. Her eyes, which were weak and almost closing, sprang open wide in an instant. I clearly saw her tears streaming down, saw her pushing me and telling me to leave quickly. She seemed to be shouting with all her might, "Go! Don't mind me. It's already a surprise you came to save me. Live well, I love you." I looked at her steadily, not hesitating for a moment. I hopped twice and continued towards the exit, carrying her. "Don't talk nonsense. It's just a prosthetic leg, I don't feel a thing. Let's go." Olivia Vance was stunned. She looked back at the prosthetic leg trapped under the broken beam, looked at my practiced hopping, then looked at the prosthetic leg, then me, then the prosthetic leg, then me, and she kept going. "Stop looking." I grabbed her face with one hand and gently placed her in the back of a utility vehicle nearby. Meeting her tear-filled eyes, a huge wave of tenderness swelled in my heart with pity. But before I could ask her what she meant by "I love you," and wasn't she engaged? Olivia Vance grabbed my hand tightly with her cold fingers and asked with a trembling voice, "What exactly happened? Why didn't you tell me?" "Leo, everything. I want to know it immediately, right now." I glanced at my empty left pant leg, smiled, and sat down beside her, recounting the entire story from beginning to end. As the sun set, casting a pale yellow glow on Olivia Vance's face, I turned my head and saw her face covered in tears. "Don't cry, please don't cry. Isn't everything okay now?" Olivia Vance hit my chest with a small fist, clearly controlling her strength. Then, without a word, she reached out and hugged me. "Since that's the case, then be with me. I'm beautiful and rich, no one will dare bully you. You won't have to worry about anything even if you're completely disabled, understand?" My nose tingled with emotion. I nodded, then remembered her marriage. "Your fiancé. Fake, just to make you jealous. Your wedding photo. Photoshopped, waiting for you to pursue me. Oh, and that contract of servitude. I owned your next 30 generations. Now, well, it's just us creating the next 30 generations." Olivia Vance's words were shocking, and my old face turned red with embarrassment. She had already turned and kissed me brazenly. I immediately wrapped my arms tightly around her instinctively. I believe we will be happy until we're old, forever and ever. The end.